Sorry, I'm breathing hard. I just tried to do a podcast in my ice plunge, which was not a good idea. Lasted like 3.5 minutes. Oh my gosh. Oh, I saw this meme. I forgot what it said, but it's basically saying, "Why do you have to do that shit privately? Why do you have to document ice plunges?" Well, I don't know. I don't. I don't. It's something about I mean, it's completely tap dancing and ego driven, and I know no one cares, but it's my new toy. I want to show you what I got. Okay, I was going to have a conversation about. It was going to be a quick one because um, I was so cold. I forgot to hit record, so I went into it, and I used my skateboard as kind of a shelf. Put the computer on the skateboard, had it all set up. Went into the ice tub. Oh, and popped out. Put on the headphones. Started to talk about what I'm going to talk about right now, which is anger. And I thought I hit record, and I didn't. And I was in there for about 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes, and then I was like, I can't do this anymore. And then I got out, and I realized I didn't hit record. So I'm doing it now. And what I wanted to talk about was, so I used to be, as you can see here, I'm pointing to a poster that says I used to be a miserable fuck. I used to be miserable, and the reason why I was angry was because I was unhappy. And what I realized was when you're angry, you are most likely reactive and you are doing things. Now, there's a spectrum. I mean, you could do everything from road rage to, be abusive to your partner and kids, or just you're exuding the toxic, aggressive energy outward into the world. So, however that shows up, it could also be like the silent treatment. It could be stonewalling. It could be shutting down. But you are emotionally littering. You are hurting people possibly. So I kind of was doing a lot of that. And when you do that, you reflect and you don't like yourself, right? You always feel guilty or shitty unless you're like a sociopath. I mean, most people feel shitty when they react and do something that hurts someone else. And so if you have a pattern of being angry because you're not happy in life, and so you're walking around basically hurting people, whether that's emotionally, physically, or just by being rude and shit, just hurting people. What happens is then you create this kind of strange force field. And this force field doesn't protect you, it actually traps you. And I call this the anger loop. And this is when you're angry because you're not happy, and the anger manifests into words and behavior action that makes you not like yourself. And because you don't like yourself, you're more angry. And so there's this cycle, right? And if you just do nothing, this becomes an automatic loop. And this is how I was for about 10 years of my life. I mean, half of my 20s and 30s, I was unhappy in my in my relationship. I was married at the time. She was unhappy. I know why now. And I was unhappy. I wasn't that unhappy in the marriage, but I was unhappy in my career, which made me just constantly angry, grumpy. And I created that anger loop, which created this kind of force field. And I trapped myself, right? And even after the marriage, I remember I was in another relationship years after, and I remember she said to me, "John, you're not happy." And I remember this like yesterday because it hurt me. Because I was like, after all these years, of course I'm happy. Like, I've done so much work. What the fuck are you talking about? I laugh. Look at me. I'm smiling. I'm happy. And she was right. I wasn't happy. And I guess the point in me telling you that is that we can default, we can snap back. We're human. Especially if it's something ingrained in you. Anger is ingrained in me because for most of my life I have not been happy. And so that's my knee jerk. And so even years later, when I started to build more of a meaningful life, um, I just snapped back, and that girlfriend I was dating at the time, and I think we're together for around 3 years, she noticed it and said, "Listen, you're not happy." And it was a huge wake up call for me. It was a warning sign that, look, you're creating that anger loop again. You're trapping yourself. So to break out of this, and we must break out of this, it's not just to learn how to be less angry. I think that's kind of what's on the surface. I think it's about going to the core, and the core is, what is making you unhappy? Why do you not like yourself? What can you do to be more happy? And I'm not even a big fan of the word happy. I think it's a bumper sticker. But what can you do to feel more alive, to have more joy in your life, to have more meaning? What can you do to start liking yourself? I remember asking myself that question 20 years ago. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to treat people better. I'm going to start there. And I'm going to start with treating myself better. Because if I could break that pattern, even if I'm not happy in life, if I have this non-negotiable where I'm going to treat people better, then I'll be less upset with myself. Then then I'll like myself, even if it's a little bit. And hopefully that'll be enough where the train can take a different track, And so I start to make eye contact. I started to open doors. I started to say thank you. And I started to engage. And slowly, it changes your energy. And as I was spinning that plate, I started investigating or doing an inventory on my life and why I wasn't happy. I started to redefine what success looked like. I started to listen to my solid self, the quiet whisper that I used to ignore. And I played that out, right? So daily listening to that. What does John Kim want? What does he want to do? What would make him happy? I started to find life in my life by being grateful for what I had today. So at that time, it was a coffee and styrofoam and a donut. It was conversations with friends. It was ditching work and going to the beach and just running, listening to 90s music. It was things that I had that didn't require money or someone's yes or no. And it forced me, because at the time I was broke, it forced me to either be a victim and just suffer and tell myself that I got dealt shitty cards and I'm just going to exist like this until I die, or take what I have, find nectar and joy in what I have now as I start building. And so, a hard workout meant something to me. A ride on my motorcycle. I used to kind of walk the streets of K-Town just listening to Wayne Dyer, old YouTube channels or YouTube videos. This is before podcasting was invented. And I could afford a donut once a week. I had cheap coffee, and I would engage with my friends, and we would just kind of like fuck around town, not do anything. But that mattered, and I found joy in that, and connection in that, and meaning in that. And I found fire in my belly. I got passionate about things other than myself. I wanted to help other people. And that's how I broke the pattern. That's how I broke the pattern, because as I started to do those things, because I was a little bit happier and I liked myself just a little bit more, I was less angry, right? And because I was less angry, I liked myself more, right? I wasn't out steamrolling people and looking down at the floor and just fucking negative and short tempered. Um, I took a breath. I responded instead of reacted, and then that kind of became my definition of what I think a man looks like, or an adult. Like simply put, the ability to respond instead of react. That kind of became the definition for me, um, to cross the great divide from boy to man, or from child to adult. And I've been practicing that for 20 years. When I feel angry, to be aware of that, and to put an emotional speed bump, and to respond, and to think how my actions, reactions, my behavior is going to impact other people, and also how I'm going to feel about myself, right? And I still struggle with anger. I'm very impatient. I'm short tempered. Um, I don't like making eye contact. I could come off as being a dick. I think most people, like maybe people that don't know me or have had conversations with me, when they just kind of observe me, I still think most people in this world think I'm a dick. I'm introverted. I'm not like this big social, smiley, like huggy guy. That takes a lot of work. Um, so yeah, so I still have remnants of that, right? But I'm also, kind to myself, or kinder, and I'm also giving myself permission to be me. And if there's days that I'm struggling to open the door or to smile, then I'm okay with that. Anyway, if you struggle with anger, or if the person that you share a bed with struggles with anger, my dad, he was like happy, but he was also angry. He had short temper. He would yell a lot. The apple doesn't fall far. Um, but if this is, you, or someone you love, um, instead of just thinking about reducing anger exercises, um, or anger management, I'm sure they're helpful. You got to get to the core. So the core is, ask yourself why you're unhappy, but more importantly, what you're going to do about it. What are you going to do about your unhappiness? It's your responsibility. And if you do nothing, it's impacting others. Anyway, thank you for listening. Be well.